Hello, Fiona Whitten from Oakville Crafts here, and welcome to my virtual card and a cuppa. Today I'm going to share with you a kit and some cards that I took with me this morning to Card and a Cuppa event over at the Grange Chocolate Cafe, which is in the Home Grange Craft Village. And I'm also going to make a fourth card live. So sit back. Those of you who've got your kits, great. I will post on see, it'll go up on my YouTube, and in the description when it does go up will be the instructions for the basic kit. So you don't have to sit and actually write any instructions at this precise moment in time. It'll all be there once I get it all posted up to YouTube. So for those of you who don't know me, as I already said, my name is Fiona Whitten, and I am an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator based in Wokingham in Berkshire, here in the lovely sunny UK. Yeah, it's really nice at the moment. It's probably just as well because my husband's just come in from a walk. But anyway, so this is the kit that went out last month to everybody who subscribed to it. I should say now that it was actually designed quite a while ago because I did all the prep before I left for the States, so I had to have everything ready. So apologies, there is one thing on here that has retired since. For those of you who don't know, Stampin' Up bring out an annual catalogue, and it went live yesterday, which meant that the punch that I used for the label actually retired on the 2nd of May. So everything else you will find in the January to June mini catalogue, and also in the annual catalogue. So this is the kit. Everyone always gets an envelope. There is an evening evergreen card base. So that's one of the in colours from last year that is still going. So that's going to be around for another year. There is a piece of soft succulent as well, and that's another in colour from last year. So again, that will be around until next May. There's a piece of basic white. This is just sort of standard staple, and that's to go on the inside of your card once you've decorated it. And then there is this really pretty, delicate looking die cut. I hope you can see that. And in fact, I actually had to use a couple of different sheets of. They come from the same pack, but this is a completely different look. So this is more of your poppy parade, pool party, and this is more of your pumpkin pie, calypso corally, evening evergreen, soft succulent. And both of these come from, wait for it, the Flowering Fields Designer Series paper. So that's 12 by 12 paper that you'll find in the January to June catalogue. And the theme for that paper is actually tulips. You can't see any tulips on there, but it was, this was the original piece. You can just still make out kind of some of the tulip heads there. And this is for that one. This is, again, you can just about make out some of the tulip heads. I've actually finished all of this paper, so otherwise I would actually show you what it looked like as a full sheet. But I can show you what it looks like, whoops, excuse me, in the catalogue. So this is the paper. So I used this particular sheet with the poppy parade and the pinks, and then this particular sheet for the other. And the reason I can tell that is because I can tell from the backs of it. That's one good way of actually telling. Because sometimes some of the paper, especially these ones, they sort of have graduated colours, so you're never too sure as to which ones you've used. So this is the Flowering Fields paper. It's still around, it's still available, so that will be available to the end of June. But once we get into June, it'll be very much till stocks last. So, and then as I said, there's a piece of basic white which I punched out using the Everyday label, which sadly retired on the 2nd of May. So that's the kit that everybody had. As I said, some people had that colour, and then there were a few who had this colour. and I'm sure you'd kind of want to see what I made with them. So this was my first card, very simple. Actually, that's not the right envelope, but that doesn't really matter. So it started off with just simply gluing the whole of that die cut, that die cut onto the soft succulent cardstock. And because we're using 12 by 12, you'll find that your die cuts will be different. So there will be different elements, will have different colours. So this is exactly the same shape as that, but obviously all the flowers are a different colour to that. So it's simply glued on, and then we stamped a dahlia. So we used the, where is it? Here we go. The Dahlia Days Bundle. So the stamp that was used is this particular dahlia here. This is Carol's stamp set because I don't actually have it, but I was so in love with the dies I decided that I had to make a card using them, and that it would be great for Card A Cuppa. And then these are the dies. And just so you know, oops, where are we? So this is the large die. So it comes one piece. Simply die cut it out. Hopefully you don't need to do any pushing of the paper out. So this is what it looks like in cardstock. Still beautiful. So that's the dies, and then so we've got have that lovely background piece, or you can just use it solely like I'm doing here, really. And then each of these will die cut out one of the image. So this particular die will cut out this image, which is a really nice shape with the dahlia on the corner. We have two of these, so if you're in a bit of a stamping frenzy and you've stamped lots of them, you can actually die cut two out at the same time. Similarly, there are two of these two here, which I would like to say are the smaller one here. This one cuts out the three little flowers at the same time, and then various other bits. So this one will cut this, and then so on and so forth. So that's the die set and then the stamp set. So you can still get those as a bundle, or you can buy them individually. So as I said, this is what the first card. So glued on, stamped using Pool Party. So I just got the dahlia halves off the label, and then I stamped in Poppy Parade, the sentiment from the same stamp set. Added that with rhinestones, with dimensionals. This is popped up on dimensionals. Added some rhinestones, and then I just simply glued the strip of paper on the inside before I glued that into the card. So it's straightforward. As I said, that one's the wrong colour, so there should be one in here that is Pool Party. So, and then I just stamped another dahlia on the envelope. So that was the first card. The only tricky bit on this, I would say, is the gluing, because you don't have a lot of space. So when you are gluing, I would suggest you simply put little dots on the centres of the larger flowers and areas where there's a fairly large area that you can put them on. And then just put small dots around the edge. You don't need to go mad and cover this completely with glue, because at the end of the day it's just going to sit on there. It's not got any weight. So just a few strategic bits of glue would be great. Failing that, you can also use the adhesive sheet, but this wasn't really an option. You could actually, thinking about it, if you use an adhesive sheet rather than using a whole piece of adhesive sheet, I would just cut it into strips and do it that way. That way, again, you haven't covered all of that and just used a huge amount. But anyway, that's just a tip for you. So that was the first card. The second card, I turned the card landscape. And this time I took my die cut and I simply cut it using a pair of paper snips straight down the middle, or as straight as I could get it, because it was totally freehand. And then what I did is the ends that were cut are actually on the outside edges, so that you've got the nice sort of fussy frilly bits in the middle. So again, that's just simply glued on. And then on the label, instead of stamping to one side, as in that one, I simply stamped in the middle in the pool party, and then the sentiment in the middle is stamped using Evening Evergreen. So that's a nice dark green that sits really comfortably on top of the pool party. If you think that the image that you are stamping in the centre here is too bold a colour, then try stamping off first, and that will then give you the same colour, but it'll be a slightly softer shade of it, and then your sentiment will stand out more. So as I said, in half, glue it on, stamp your focal point and your sentiment, add that using dimensionals, add some rhinestones, and then I simply stamped a dahlia in a different colour. So this one is soft succulent, so it's slightly different to the much darker Evening Evergreen. And this was added with dimensionals as well. Obviously, depends very much on whether you're posting this. Obviously, the flatter it is, it will then fit as a standard letter. Once you start putting the height on, sometimes you may have to send it as a large letter. So obviously, if you're giving it to someone by hand, then it really doesn't matter. You can go with the flow and do whatever it is that you want to do. So that's the second card. The third card is, again, slightly different in that what I did this time, and I'll show you on this, is that instead of just simply putting it across so that the whole thing was on here, I turned it slightly, well, I turned it completely, and then I glued it across the card like that, snipped off the bits that were overhanging, and then used my strip that would normally have gone in on the inside to hide that top edge, just so that it gave a nice straight edge across the middle, like that. So that is just glued on. And so glue onto the soft succulent and then glue it onto your card front. And then this time I stamped the dahlia twice. So I got them in opposite corners. And I just used Tuxedo Black, the Memento ink, for the sentiment. Add some rhinestones. I don't need too many. And then I stamped the dahlia on the basic white before I actually glued it inside. I like having my images off the edges rather than just having one solid image in the corner. But again, it's your card, so it's up to you. And then I've got a dahlia on my envelope. So that is the 3 cards that were made. So I need to come up with a 4th one. So the $64 million question is, do I do the same colour that I've already done, or do I use the other colour? And I think I am actually going to use the other colour, just so that you can then see what that looks like. Bear with me one moment, because I can't see. Oh, it looks like I am live, which is good. I should have checked this a second ago. And I do have it on silent, so hopefully it won't interfere. But there you go. So, right, so I'm going to use this other colour, the one that has more pumpkin pie and soft succulent and the Evening Evergreen. And I just need to decide what I'm going to do with it. I mean, I could almost, and I kind of like that idea. It's rather than, see that this one, I turned and I just simply cut it. But this one I could do it the other way so that we've got it in the corners going across. It'll take a little bit more time because I'm going to have to, let's see, have it like that. So if I glued that bit on first, cut it, and then I can turn it and use the other piece. So you don't have to use this as a solid image. As I said, you can play around with it and simply cut it up. That's the nice thing about this, is at the end of the day, it's paper. So you can cut it to fit and to suit whatever project you're making. So I'm just putting little dots of glue onto, trying to put it on a corner. I probably done it on the wrong one. So I'm not going to smother the whole thing. As I said, you don't want it squelching out all over the place. That's not a nice look when you've got glue all over the place. I think that will do. So my first bit, I'm going to, oops, get the glue off there. Let's see, I'm going to go, no, I quite liked it that way, wasn't it? That was how I was going to do it originally. So I'm going to put that on there like that. I hope I haven't got too much glue on there. And then I'm just going to use my paper snips. So my my catalogues went out to everybody in the post yesterday. Ladies who came to Card A Cuppa this morning got theirs then. If you are local to me, I have a few still to hand deliver, so I will get them out. I had hoped today, I still plan, but much depends on the traffic at the moment, because it's pretty horrible around here, which is not good. So I've put that one in that corner, and then I'm going to put this other one in this corner. I kind of need to decide how far over. I don't want it too far over, and I'm actually going to use that straight edge that I've already got, because the other thing you can do is actually use up the other pieces as well, and you'll see what I mean in a minute. I'm going to give that a go and see how it goes. So yes, so the rest of the catalogues are going to go by hand later today, as I said, or at least that is the plan. So I think I'm going to put that on there like that. You can always go back and put a tiny bit of glue underneath if you need to. Hopefully I won't. So I'm just going to cut that piece off. And then I'm going to cut this off. It's easier to turn it upside down, and then obviously you can see the edge. So I have two fairly decent sized pieces left. Now I could, if I wanted to, go nuts and put another piece on here, like in that corner, and another piece in that corner. Actually, that's quite nice. I think that's what I'm going to do. So there you go. So I haven't quite used all of the die cut, but not far off it. But it's just not one solid piece. And that's okay. It doesn't have to be. Like that. I'm not going to worry about that little bit overhanging here, because it's sitting on a larger card, so it's not going to be overhanging the card front at all. And then, as I said, I'm going to do just a little one here. I'm going to leave more of a gap. Don't want it to be so busy. Make it interesting, but not so. I'm I'm just going to put that on there, like so, and I cut the rest off. So if you've got any intricate sort of background dies, this would work. It's a technique that would work. Any of these cards are a technique that would work for it. And in fact, actually, I could now, instead of going landscape, I could do it as portrait. Let's see what that looks like, and then put your, depends on where you want everything. Do you want, I think I want, yes, that's better. I want my two big pieces there in the middle, and then they're just little bits on those corners. Okay, right. Now, when it comes to stamping the focal point to go in the middle, I would recommend that you first stamp the flower, the dahlia, and then stamp your sentiment. Only because the reason I say that is that if you stamp it and you decide that actually that is slightly too dark for what you want, then of course you can simply turn it over and do it again, that time stamping off. So I'm going to use some Calypso Coral ink, and I'm going to, actually I've got two of the punched labels there, so I'm going to actually show you. So if I just stamp it directly onto here, about there. Hopefully that's gone off the top. Yep, just. So that's quite bright. Now, normally I would say you could just use the second to do that, but you will have bits where it's lighter and bits where it's darker. So these top bits will end up being dark, and what you don't want is to have a line going across your image. So you do actually need to re-ink and then stamp off. So you've stamped a whole image, so you're not going to have any lines and things on it this time. Like that. And then the question is, do I want to use the dark one or do I want to use the light one? I think I might go for the light one, in fact. Now, I'm not actually going to use a sentiment from the Dahlia Days stamp set. I'm actually going to use a stamp set from Peaceful Moments, a stamp from Peaceful Moments, because I want to do a happy birthday. So this is the Peaceful Moments stamp set, which actually has carried over, which is great because I love the fonts, the mixed fonts on this. So I'm going to use the happy birthday, which I already have on a block. And I'm going to stamp that in, I'm going to stamp that in the Evening Evergreen, because that's a nice dark green colour. Normally I would go for the black, but actually I'd quite like to just do it in the Evening Evergreen. Now, which way up do I think I'll have my flower that way. And we're going to try and get this in the middle. Straight. Doesn't always happen. We'll see. There we go. So it actually kind of looks black on there. But it's not. It is a dark green. So just leave those to dry for a moment. I'm going to glue this. Am I going to glue it? Yes, I'm going to glue this to the card front. We're just going to use a bead of glue around the edges and a squiggle in the middle. And that's going to get put onto the card front, like so. So there's lots of things going on this month, as I said. New catalogue was out. If you're watching this, don't have a UK demonstrator, then I am more than happy to send you a copy. then just get in touch. You can email me at fiona@oakvilleCrafts.com and send me your details, and I will get one in the post to you. So I have that going. There is I've got a catalogue launch on the 14th. So if you live local to me, you are more than welcome to come over. I'm asking people to let me know simply because I then can make enough make and takes. And then again, if you go to oakvillecrafts.com, you will find at the very top of the page a heading that says Annual Catalogue Launch. And if you click on that, then you'll find all the details of where and when. So I'm doing an in-person event in the morning, and then I'm going to do a virtual event, so an online event in the afternoon. So I hope you can make one or other of them. And as I said, there will be a buy one, get one free. So I will be selling off all my retired stamp sets, bundles, dies, etc. And for each £1 you spend on those, you will get £1 to spend in the new catalogue for free. So if you spend £25 on retired product, I will then give you £25 to spend through an order with me. And it's as simple as that. Right, now I'm not going to put my strip on. I am going to actually stamp. And I'm actually going to cheat because I'm going to use that small stamp rather than the big Dahlia. I'm going to ink up and then just, so when it's a small image like that and you make a booby like that, you just simply turn it over. Just need to make sure that I've got enough ink on there this time. That's fine. And then when you've used a whole solid image like that, you can then just simply again just use it so that you get a lighter image. And again on here, let's see if I can get this to, and then a slightly lighter one. So I'm just going to leave it like that. I know that's not kind of 100%, but it's a handmade card, and quite frankly it's a handmade card. It's as simple as that. Because I turned the cardstock over, and the way the blade works on the trimmer, it kind of pushes the card down when you cut it. So easiest thing to do to make that flat is to either use your thumbnail or a bone folder. And I don't know where I put my bone folder, as always. Actually, I lie, I do know where it is. It's here. So you can just flatten it using a bone folder, as I said. And then you would never know. And you can't see the image on the other side. And the other thing to be careful is if you have stamped off the page, that what's left can be a bit wet at times, so be careful where you are actually putting your cardstock. As you can see, I've managed to catch the corners and the edge here, but it's not so bad that I need to get another piece of cards simply because it's on the reverse side, so I'm not too worried about that. Obviously you don't want it on the front of your card. So I'm going to put that in like so, like that. So that's going to go there. I need to put some rhinestones on, I think, to make it just finish it off. So I am just going to use some basic rhinestones. Oh, and the last thing I do need to do is actually stamp on my envelope. Oops, put that to one side. I think I'm okay on that. So this time I'm going to do a Dahlia on here. might do a couple of little flowers as well. Yeah, that's it. And then you can actually see on this, hopefully, you can see where I stamped the corner, the fact that it's a much lighter colour there, and then that is still much darker ink that hasn't been used. So this is why I was saying that if you are stamping off, or sorry, if you want a lighter image after you've already stamped the first, make sure that you don't have those lines on it, because I would hate for you to have that actually then appear on your image, and I can show you on here what it would look like. So you got your nice lighter shade, but then you've got this much darker edging, and you don't want that. Right. So put that out the way, put this here, and then rhinestones, which are here. I need my Take Your Pick tool, which is a must-have. It's a great tool. It has putty on one end, and then you have a pokey tool on one side and a little spatula on the other. And then it also comes with another one that you can interchange with it, which have two slightly larger and a smaller ball tool on. So it's a really good tool, and this is a godsend when it comes to picking up rhinestones and things, especially when you don't want to, if you've got something that is sharp and you're trying to get it off, and you end up taking the top off, but you leave your sticky bit on here. This you just use and simply touch the rhinestones and slide it, and it just comes off. So as I said, it's fantastic. I love it. It makes my life so much simpler. How many have I got on here? 1, 2, 3, 4, another one. Let's see. Let's go from that size. And that can go there. Right. So that is my finished 4th card. Let's just move all this out the way. So this is today's card. So our envelope with the flowers on. This was the original one piece, which in the end got cut into, well actually I've still got a piece left, so I could put that on somewhere else, but I think that would be a bit too much. I think having the 4 corners with it on is great. So that's today's just made card. This is the one of the ones that went to Card A Cuppa. So this all started, this is all the same die that's been used to make these cards. So there you go. So those are the 4 cards. I will put photos of these up on my Facebook page. This video will get posted to Facebook, but I will also upload it to YouTube. And when I upload it to YouTube, I will have all the cutting instructions of how to do the basic kit, so you know what was used and things like that. And if you want the kits for June's Card A Cuppa, if you go to oakvilleCrafts.com, and then at the top you will find a tab that says classes, kits and tutorials. If you just click on that, there will be a pop down, and you can click on that to then order your Card A Cuppa kits. So you get 2 kits for £5, and they get posted to you for free, just so you know. And then obviously if you want to come in person to the Card A Cuppa event, it's on the 1st and the 3rd Wednesdays of the month. And then the other Wednesdays of the month, usually the 2nd and the 4th, sometimes there's a 5th, I do a stamping and creating event. So that's what's going to be on next week. And I will be having lots of new things to share with you. And okay, so that is it for today. Hope you've enjoyed that. Leave a comment or any questions on the comments on Facebook. I will get back to you. Otherwise, I will see you again soon. Take care. Bye.